Death has a funny way of changing things. For me, it happened when my grandma died. I hadn't seen her since I was a kid, but apparently she'd been running a business in a town outside the city. I was having a bit of an early midlife crisis, and she left the thing to me. So I sold everything I had, quit my job, and ran to the countryside. You can imagine my horror, though, when her business turned out to just be an empty lot. Even worse, a crazy old man was standing in the middle of it. I was about to turn and leave when he saw me. Are you supposed to be here? In a panic, I started out a terrified response. Who are you? You're either a thief or a friend. It's gotten me in trouble before, but I'll go with option 2. You must be Nan's tyke then. I'm Boner. Wait, did you just say Boner? Yeah. Like, actually Boner? Yeah. Is that the problem? No, just checking. Alright then. I'm Boner. I was a good friend of your Gran's. Now, tell me, what's your name? I kind of felt like starting a new life, completely unbound from the one I led before. Luckily, I happened to be a changeling, so I quickly morphed into the man you see right here. Now, you may be wondering if this is a bit of a self-insert. Let me tell you, it is... Don't make fun of me. You even got your Gran's eyes. So, Nan say why she wanted you here. Oh, yeah, she wanted me to run her cat cafe. Do you know where it is, by the way? I knew it, Boner said, ignoring my question. First, you need to pick a good name for it. Felix's Felines, I guess? But I still need to know where it is. Felix's Felines. What a clever cat-based pun. But it's not really a pun. Oh, look! It's some of the stray cats that roam Catawall. This is a perfect time to adopt a cat, Felix. Okay. At this point, I was starting to feel pretty overwhelmed. The cats seemed friendly, though, and the orange one seemed pretty chill. I figured he might help me calm down. Like all good cat owners, I gave him the most dignified of names. Skrunkle. He seems to trust you. You got real feline charms, eh? Now that I had Skrunkle by my side, I still had one glaring issue to address. Boner, where is my cafe? Ah, that. As you can see, the cafe was a teeny bit destroyed by a storm. A bit? This field is empty. Hey, at least I saved some furniture for you. Boner handed over a pile of furniture that looked as if it just finished its second tour in the trenches. You can buy more at Gross Decorations in town. Alright, I'll check in on you later. Good luck turning this field into a cozy little cafe. Wait, you can't just... And he's already gone. What in the hell was I supposed to do? How was I supposed to run a business when there was no business? I sold everything for this. I left my whole life behind. I was ruined. It was at that point I realized something. In the pile of sopping furniture, Boner had left a stack of boards. Quickly, I threw together a small building. How I did it in under a day is unimportant. Let's just say I was a construction worker or something before. Anyways, reality-bending construction speeds aside, the chairs and tables he gave me really were pretty crappy. And I didn't really have a kitchen, or the money to buy a kitchen, but I didn't have time to think about that, because someone actually came into the cafe. He reeked to high hell, and honestly looked to be homeless, but he sat down. Excuse me, sir, we aren't really open yet. I'll take a water. Sure? Dumbfounded, I walked over to the sink and poured him a glass of water. I mean, it's the only thing I could really serve, and it's not like I could open today anyways, so I guess giving a homeless guy some rest is fine. After he drank his water and played with Skrunkle for a bit, the man stood up and dropped a handful of loose fabrics on the table before leaving. I guess that was him paying? I didn't really have time to think about it, because as he walked out, a woman with long red hair walked into the cafe. I'm sorry, ma'am. Can I help you? Hello. Oh dear, I've been so excited to meet you, Felix. I started to feel a little uncomfortable. I don't mean to be rude, but am I supposed to know you? Oh, no. I'm Carla Lala. Please, call me Carla. Or Lala. Or both. Her cheery demeanor was a little off-putting considering the musty dump she was sitting in. I run the pet emporium in town. We carry stuff like cat food and litter boxes. I hope you can pay us a visit sometime. Being the magnificent social butterfly that I am, I blurted out the first response that came to mind. that's a cool hat. Oh dear, I recommend not commenting on a witch's hat. It's a bit embarrassing. She looked more than a bit uncomfortable. Wait, did she just say witch? Quite a few witches live in Catawal. Please, no hat talk when they come to visit, all right? Wait, hold on. Did you say witches? Yes. Like, actual witches? Yes? Witches exist. Like, actually exist. Yes, did you not know that? No! Oh, well, they do. And us witches tend to pay in scrumptious nectar. Many merchants in the food market enjoy it so much they'll only accept nectar as payment. If you wish to buy new foods and drinks, I recommend advertising to witches. Wait, did you get all the merchants hooked on nectar? Oh, I look forward to visiting Felix's felines more often. I hope we could talk more then. Yeah, sure. I was so distracted by the terrifying implications of our conversation that I didn't even realize Carla ordered a pretzel, and I served her a glass of water instead. That being said, did she not see that all I had was a sink? Like, where was I supposedly storing the dough? Where was I supposed to cook it? Either way, a couple of other homeless people came in and ordered water. All of them paid with fabric, so I think that one guy left them his payment earlier. Having earned a grand total of $0, I decided to close up shop around 7 that night. As I opened the door to leave, though, I heard the sound of another cat as a dark blur darted past me. The cat stopped just inside the cafe and stared at me. I couldn't help but feel a tad bit uneasy as its glowing eyes bore into me. Hello. I felt myself jump. In a panic, I started out the first thing that came to mind. Hi? Not surprised, little one. I mean, a little. You resemble your grandmother. I'm surprised to see the cafe open for business. I assume this is your doing. Yeah, I guess. I mean, I inherited the property after she passed, so... The cat that's chosen to shelter here. His paws are soft, and his belly full. This pleases me, little one. That's good? Sorry, I really don't know how to process this. All will be explained in time. For now, I have something to show you. Follow me. It didn't really occur to me until we were in the forest that following a strange magic cat is usually a bad idea in fairy tales. We walked for what must have been half an hour, going deep into the woods. Eventually, we came across a small clearing with an ancient-looking shrine in it. Have you noticed, little one, how your cats have brought delight to the people of Catawal? I mean, the homeless seem to like them, and that witch lady did, but like the town as a whole? Not really? Well, for the sake of my shrine, I ask that you continue your work. Fill all their little hearts with delight, and have them help with restoring this old shrine. Okay, well, I plan to keep the cafe open, but what exactly is this shrine? I will tell you in time, little one. For now, you just must know that it is a powerful thing for caretakers such as yourself. It will provide benefits as it's restored. Wait, how exactly am I supposed to restore a shrine? I don't know how to organize that kind of work. It is simple. Just set a project for the people, and once they've gained enough delight, they'll finish it. That sounds a bit arbitrary and a bit like a game mechanic. Would you rather do it yourself? Not really. Would you rather set up work days yourself? Oh, God, no. Then this should work just fine for you. Why don't you try starting a project now, little one? I will meet you again once your work has started. Wait, but what even are you? And he's gone. Damn. Why won't anyone stick around for questions? Guess that means I gotta figure this stuff out on my own. As I approached the shrine, though, I noticed that a variety of community requests for the cafe for some reason. One of them was full of suggestions for different foods. Well, I guess filling up my menu would be a good place to start. I mean, can't really call the store a cafe yet since all we serve is water. And with that, I started the first food project. Once I got back to the cafe, I decided it was time to check out the town. To my surprise, when I entered the food store, I saw Boner standing behind the counter. And Carla wasn't lying when she said he'd only accept nectar for payment. I went ahead and bought the recipes for pretzels, coffee, and tea. 3 items that I apparently didn't know how to make? God, I was bad at adulting. Anyways, with that depressing realization out of the way, it was time for me to head home for the day. Wait, did I ever actually buy a home? Yeah, I slept on the floorboards. Anyways, day 2! As I opened up shop, I saw a blue-haired girl with absurdly spherical buns standing at the door. As she took a seat, she started to talk. Hey, I hope it's okay to say, what you're doing here is inspiring. Honestly. Thanks? I mean it, really. Anyways, I'm Finley. I make music? Not for money though, unless you count my mom's Patreon sub. I bet you didn't think there'd be many artists in Catawal. I mean, there's kinda artists everywhere. True. Either way, Felix's Felines is chill. I bet they'll love it. Anyways, artists can hook you up with jewels. Gross Decorations charges jewels for most of their furniture. Wait, are you also saying you won't pay with real money? Does anyone in this town use cash? No, not really. Also, why does the furniture store take jewels? What possible use could the owner have for them? I don't know. I think he just likes shiny things. Okay, well, how does he pay taxes? I don't know. Oh my god, this isn't going anywhere. Hey, all I know is that if you're looking to furnish your cafe, advertise to artists, okay? Yeah, I get it. I really enjoy working on my stuff in here. Hope I can get to know you better, she said before opening her laptop. Yeah, likewise. She wasn't lying, though. After she drank her coffee, she left a handful of jewels on the table and peaced out. She also casually pointed out that yesterday morning this field was empty, and looking back, that was the only time anyone mentioned my incomprehensible build speeds. The rest of the day went off without a hitch, as homeless people, witches, and artists came and went, playing with Skrunkle and paying with anything except for legal US tender. I'm never gonna make actual money again, I thought to myself as I closed up shop. That night, I went back into town and bought the big sink, along with a variety of random chairs, which, by the way, it turns out the fabric from the homeless people is what it takes to buy them. I replaced the crappy old chairs while trying to convince myself that it was fine that none of the new chairs matched. And, after another night on the hardwood floor, I was finally starting to get into a routine. The next morning, I was greeted by a familiar face as I opened the cafe. Hello, Felix. Figured I'd come check in, see how you doing. How you been? Well, in all honesty, it's been a bit rough. I didn't really expect to be starting from the bottom. Oh, don't worry. You'll outdo your old lady at this rate. I'm sure she's proud of you. You know, I've been talking to me fisher folk friends. Say they're keen on visiting. They're a bit like myself. Straightforward folk who sometimes pay in fish. Boner, listen to me. If anyone brings a fish into my store, I'm kicking them out. Including you. Oh, come on, don't give me that. It's a town tradition. Yeah, and I'm starting to think this whole town's working on a barter system. Is that a problem? Yes! What benefit could it possibly have that outweighs the inability to pay for anything outside of town? We don't use money, so we don't pay taxes. Touché. Besides, Carla Lawless sells the best cat wares for fish alone. If you want to treat your cats or buy lures to attract strays, you need to sell to fisher folk. I'll keep that in mind. As I turned to make his order, I heard Boner call out behind me. Remember, teach a man to befriend a fisherman, and they'll have fish for a lifetime. The horrible smell of fish filled my cafe as Boner tossed some on the table and left. The day continued normally, until I noticed a group of stray cats had gathered around some scraps I'd thrown out the night before. One of them even let me touch it. I named him Frunkle, because I'm still amazing at naming cats, and brought him inside. That night, I learned how to make herbal tea, and bought a better table than the crappy one Boner had left me. The next day was slow. No weird and kooky visitors came that stuck out from the crowd, and everyone kind of kept to themselves. That being said, I did finish the first project, and started working towards unlocking better drinks. The calmness didn't last that long, though, as the next evening, a few hours before closing, a man with slick back hair and a button-up sauntered into the store. A mysterious stranger wanders into Catawal, collecting stray cats under one roof. Driven by what? Witchery? Madness? Business acumen? Driven by my grandma, I guess. Oh, aren't we all? The man whips out his phone. Siri, note that in the cool stuff I've said, don't quite understand list. Thanks, babe. Oh god, he's one of those people, I thought to myself. Name's Mateo. You must be a business person. You know, I'm somewhat of a business person myself. People like me are just looking to blow off some steam and don't mind spending some valuable gold to do so. Wait, did you just say gold? Yes, I did. Like, real gold. That's right, friendo. And you're gonna pay me that for coffee. Of course, friendo. Do you not carry around a little gold? No! Well, deluxe furniture can only be bought with gold. If you want the good stuff, advertise to us business folk. Siri, please add Felix's felines to the hate cats list. Thanks, sweetheart. Now, back to the grind. Toodles. With that whole draining interaction out of the way, I abducted another stray cat off the street that I named Deborah because she was a refined lady, and I knew she would bring a dignified aura to the cafe. As he left, Mateo dropped a couple of hunks of gold on the table. And judging by how heavy they were, I'd say they're probably the real deal. Maybe this was how I could actually make some money for retirement. That night, I bought a cutting board along with an even better table, and went ahead and put the one I bought before in storage for whenever I could afford to expand the store. As day 6 rolled around, a kid in a leather jacket with tacky green hair walked into the store. Excuse me, can I take your order?
Oh, hey, new kid. You're doing that thing people do when they want to chat. When they open their mouth and words tumble out.
No, I was just taking your order.
I'm Arwell. Don't bother introducing yourself. Won't be long before you're out of here anyways.
Bro, I just want to take your order, I thought to myself. Besides, your whole tough guy act isn't hiding how awkward you are. Of course, I could never say that to an actual customer. Nice to meet you, Arwell, I say through a gritted smile.
God, you wouldn't make much of a punk. That's right, I'm a punk. You know a couple of other punks too. We're pretty cool.
Can he not hear how dweeby that sounds?
Me and my punk pals, we scrounge up a lot of sweet materials. If you want to expand this dump, you're gonna need some materials. Or at least that's what I'd say if I wanted to give some advice.
Bro, you are trying too hard and it's blowing up in your face. Just stop. It's embarrassing for both of us at this point.
You're not the worst. You can tumble words at me later if you'd like.
With that landslide of secondhand embarrassment out of the way, I got back to work. The rest of the day was fairly normal, and as Arwell's friends came in, I started to build up a pretty good pile of construction materials. The next day was pretty uneventful. Somehow, I felt like I had met all the unique individuals in town, and there was no one new coming. I got this feeling because Carla stopped by, and as we all know, regulars aren't allowed to return until every regular has introduced themselves. I mean, that's just a law of nature. I decided to advertise to the punks and the homeless so that I could get fabrics for chairs and materials to expand the store. By the time I closed up that evening, I was finally ready to expand. I bought a new chair with my fabrics and expanded the cafe out to slot in my other table. Finally, after a week of hard work, I had started to see some progress. But this was only the beginning of my brand new life. I recently inherited my grandmother's cafe, and the first week working there was a little rough. I arrived to see that the whole building had been leveled by a storm. So I spent the last week rebuilding and meeting all the crazy residents of Caterwall Way, like old fishermen, music girl, talking cat, and businessman, and much, much more. Now I've got to... God, that felt weird. Anyways, recap over. In all honesty, last time I had met everyone in town, so it probably was about time for me to start putting some focus on building up the cafe. That being said, I did notice a pretty massive problem. It first occurred to me one day after I bought 2 chairs from Gruff's Decorations. When I got home, I went to set them up at an empty table, but I could only place down one for some reason. Even worse, I realized I was completely unable to buy litter boxes from Carla's. She said she had them in stock, but when I tried to buy them, they just phased through my hands. Think I might know who has something to do with this, I thought to myself before storming off to the shrine. As I approached, a pair of eyes stared at me from the trees. Greetings, little one. No, shut up. Now what the hell are you doing? Whatever do you mean, little one? Do you mind explaining to me why I can't put more than a handful of chairs in my cafe? Oh, that. As I said, little one, as you improve the shrine, you will unlock benefits for your cafe. Benefits? These are basic necessities. Hush now, little one. There's no need to yell. Your hard work has already made ways in restoring my shrine. For that, as a reward, I will answer one of your little questions. For a brief moment, I considered testing how mortal this Grimalkin was. But I knew he was the only one that would know anything about my store's unique restrictions. Fine. What is the actual purpose of this shrine? You see, little one. Many moons ago, this shrine was built by humans like yourself. At first, they wished to share the valley with the cats that called it home, and they built this shrine to remind themselves of that. But it came to mean much, much more. It is something that I wish for the humans of this valley to remember. Wait, so it isn't like magical or anything? No, little one, not at all. At least, not originally. Not originally? Wait, you said you wanted people to remember the shrine's importance. Did you put these weird restrictions on it? The Grimalkin grinned at me slyly. For restoring my shrine, you have my thanks. Yeah, don't mention it. That is enough questions for meow. I will seek you out again once this shrine is looking more restored. Oh, and a word of advice. Keep your eyes on those hawks from Hawkable Acquisitions. Who? It is not the first time their kind has come into this valley, and it did not end well that time either. That didn't really answer my question, and it's gone. Well, that answered next to nothing, I thought to myself as I walked back to the cafe. At least now I knew that if I wanted to expand the cafe, I was going to need to keep fixing up the shrine. The very first thing I did was figure out what I needed to fix to be able to put more chairs in my cafe. I mean, how could a cafe only have 6 chairs? How would I ever turn a profit? Or, well, profit. Complaints about magic BS aside, though, after a couple of days, Mateo stopped back by. Hey there, friendo. Siri tells me today's International Bountiful Breaks Day. Looks like you've earned yourself a little break. Mateo, that sounds made up. Well, it's not, friendo. And, well, honestly, I could use a couple more breaks myself. Keeping yourself busy? Yes, I am. I'm always busy, friendo. That's what I get for founding Mateo Management Means. Siri, hit us with that jingle, babe. Mateo Management Means fills your content system management dreams. A CMS so hot, so cool. It smokes cigars and it skips school. Trademarked. Uh-huh. We're a pretty small business, and that we is really just me. But a while back, we landed a big new client, Hawkable Acquisitions. Where was that name again? And what exactly are you doing for Hawkable? Oh, I've been helping them set up here in Catawal. We're gonna drag this town into the 21st century, baby. It's, been a bit stressful. Sounds rough. Suddenly, Mateo's phone started to ring. Oh, I gotta take this, Felix. Sure, I'll leave you to it. As I walked away from Mateo, I couldn't help but feel a bit of a pit in my stomach. These Hawkable guys are starting to sound a bit too much like a couple of the business firms back in the city. The exact firms I came out here to escape. I didn't have long to dwell on the thought, though, because I was getting close to closing, and I needed to head out to the shrine and start on a new project. The next day, disaster struck. My coffee machine broke. Luckily, though, there's a tutorial for everything on YouTube, so I was able to fix it up relatively quickly. Ish. I mean, there weren't many customers there, so it wasn't that big of a deal. That being said, the broken coffee machine wasn't the only headache I had to deal with that day.
If you're gonna stick around, I got thoughts. The cats are badass, but I honestly can't with the food here.
That's rude. Gotta say though, Arwa, I never really took you for a chef.
Chef? This ain't about technique, kid. Your grub lacks oomph, funk, chutzpah even. doesn't crawl up my throat and yell, I am here, I am food, or something.
I don't think you want any food crawling up your throat.
You get what I mean. It's all half-assed. You gotta grab that full ass by the horns, you feel?
To be clear, we're still talking about pretzels and salad right now, right? I mean, that's the only food I serve, so...
Look, kid, I'll be honest with you. This town's in trouble.
You have my sincerest apology. I didn't realize my cooking was bad enough to threaten the entire town. Don't worry, I'll get right to fixing it.
No, not your cooking. It's that Hockable Corporation. They've been getting their dirty talons up in everyone's business.
Yeah, I've heard of them. What exactly are they doing here?
I ain't clever enough to figure that out, but I ain't gonna like it.
You're a lot of help.
Look, what I'm saying is, the way this cafe's going, Hockable's just gonna buy it up like the rest of the darn town. That's why you gotta do something about this food.
Thanks for your concern, I said as I turned back to my work. So that's what they're aiming for. Hockable's just some greedy corporate firm that saw the dying town as cheap land to buy up. They were really grabbing up the town. How long would it be before they started knocking at my door? Maybe leaving the city wasn't such a good idea. I mean, it was starting to look like I might have left one desk job for another. Wait a minute. That's right. I already escaped that hellhole of a cubicle. I'd rather die than go back to that. With this town starting to come together for the shrine, I was starting to make some good headway into turning this cafe into a proper business. They couldn't buy me out if I wasn't selling. And as long as there were people here to buy from me and my cats, my doors weren't closing. With newfound vigor, I got to work. I took orders, cooked food, served customers, hell, I even mopped up piss out of the floorboards. But I didn't let it get me down. I was gonna show those bastards at Hockable that they were stepping on the wrong neighborhood. Unfortunately, vigor alone does not give you more hands, so I still started to feel a bit overwhelmed with all the work it takes to keep a business running. Luckily, I'd just finished the shrine enough to allow me to hire a new staff member, since that was apparently another thing I was magically sealed from doing. I knew I was a pretty smooth talker, so I figured it'd be best if I hired someone for the kitchen to keep myself out on the floor, so I hired Carrie the chef. I also knew that if I wanted to stand a chance against the ever-approaching tide of large-scale corporate takeover, I was going to need to beef up the decorative flair of my store, starting with this hip new cutting board that I bought. Yeah, I don't know what about it is hipster, or what that even means, but hey, stats are stats and I ain't arguing. Following a couple of days where I had a conversation with Finley about why she works on her music that hit way too close to home, and a conversation with Boner that reminded me a little too much of my grandmother with Alzheimer's, I figured it was time I actually start expanding the cafe. After all, I was going to need more than 2 tables if I wanted to call myself a proper business owner, and my current setup was more than a little cramped. For the next week, I served exclusively punks, so I could stockpile as many construction materials as possible, with the exception of witches on a couple of days to keep enough nectar to keep the kitchen stocked. Each night, I took my new materials and expanded out the cafe, making an area to keep the cat supplies in, a dedicated kitchen area, which was eventually swapped with the cat room, and a whole floor exclusively for dining. I even finished off a few of the shrine projects as I worked, unlocking more and more essentials for the cafe. By the end of the week, I had the whole frame for an actual full-size cafe built. Now, it was just time to start filling it in. But before I could start on that, a familiar voice beckoned me to the shrine. The shrine is looking much better, little one. I would say it's even equivalent to a box of cardboard. That is a high praise, by the way. I'd almost be touched if you weren't strong-arming me into this. Oh, please, little one. You had already started working on the shrine before discovering the magic within. Consider my work an incentive. Sure. Anyways, I can tell you have more questions. Come then, ask away. You know, now that you mention it, you never actually explained what you are. Do you know the old saying, black cats bring ill fortune? Sure. I am as old as this saying. I am the Grimalkin, though the grim days to which I owe my name are long gone. Is that it? What do you mean, little one? That wasn't an answer. You just told me how old you were and what your name was. What else is there to know? What are you? You know, like are you a god? Are you a spirit? Some failed science experiment? Like you obviously aren't a normal cat. So what are you? Ah, That is a much harder question to answer. For now, all you must know is that I look after the cats of this small village and this shrine. I looked around for a moment. I must say, done a great job looking after this place. Well, I have lacked the strength to care for it for some time now. I was about to ask him why, when he quickly cut me off, as if trying to dodge the question. I have spent some time watching the humans of this town, little one. They say Huckable isn't content to put its dirty claws all over this village, but that it now wishes to roost here. Yeah, I heard they've been setting up shop here, or at least buying people out. Yes, we must keep our eyes out for this hawk, little one. I do not trust it. Yeah, neither do I. I guess he was done talking. I feel like every time he visits, that cat just leaves more questions than he answers. Either way, it looked like I had yet another reason to look out for this Huckable corporation. I was starting to wonder just how much sway they held over this town, considering how many people were talking about them. I knew I couldn't slow down now, though, so I bought a couple more chairs and a cute little cat bush to spruce up the store. I was ready to put my nose back to the grindstone the next day, until the familiar smell of hair gel and cheap cologne walked into my store. Felix, friendo, you look like you could really use someone unloading their anxieties on you. Do I? Well, lucky for you, I just so happen to have some primo anxieties ready for unloading. Don't you have any real friends to unload them on? That's the thing, friendo. You know Arwell Wright? Big eyebrows, big hair, big anime DVD connection. I like to think we're real close. You and Arwell? Yes, sir. Arwell? Yeah, we grew up together, you know. We ran rodshod all over town. Okay, so why don't you unload on him then, instead of on the waiter that you don't know? Well, you see, Arwell found out that I'm helping Huckable set up the shop here in town. Ah, I'm guessing that conversation went great. Well, he didn't take too kindly to it. He called me a no-good parrot lover. What does that even mean? I don't know, but I think he meant it as an insult. I think I should be hurt by it. Are you not? No, not really. Then it's a pretty shit insult. Hey, you mind if I ask you something? Do you think it's bad of me to be working with Huckable? You mean the bloodsuckers trying to buy out the town? It's not my place to say, but it definitely ain't great. Honestly, I don't understand. We both love this town, don't we? Love's a strong word. You see, Felix, when I was a kid, my father took me to the city. The tall buildings took my breath away. Look up there, little Mateo, he said as he pointed to the gleaming upper floors of these spires. We have it good, but up there is where folks want for nothing. Your father sounds like a bottom. Listen, Catawal's my hometown. I understand the old folks could settle for it staying the way it is. But I honestly believe working with Huckable is the only way to make sure this town has a future. Hey, Mateo, you ever considered that other people might actually enjoy living in a small town atmosphere? I'll have to think that one over, bud. Thanks for being honest with me. It's what I'm good at. With that, Mateo sunk back into his chair, muttering to himself. I'd have felt sorry for the guy if he wasn't single-handedly selling out the entire town over a rose-tinted vision of the big city, seen through the eyes of a sheltered child. Had he even been back to the city since going with his father? Anyways, that night I finally finished buying chairs and tables to fill out the dining room. I also don't really remember when I did it, but I hired a new server, so that's cool. With the store growing at the rate it was, I decided it was time I finally beefed up my menu. I'd already unlocked access to new foods from the shrines, so I spent the next couple of days advertising to witches, artists, and businessmen, so that I could get everything I needed to buy the recipes and ingredients required to make milkshakes and fried foods, along with a shake machine and a deep fryer, because last time I checked, making milkshakes by hand was hard as hell, and sadly, Ruffs didn't carry any air fryers. The next couple of days flew by, and aside from a small conversation with Finley where she scrutinized her own music and deflected any compliments that felt way too much like someone ripped direct lines from my DMs, nothing of real interest happened. Well, aside from small decoration additions. That was until Arwell came in.
Yo, fancy seeing you here in your place of work.
Arwell, I sleep in that beanbag over there and only leave the store to go to other stores in town. You knew I was here. What do you want?
I came to check up on the changes you made to the menu. Yeah, look. They stink. As in the qualitative meaning.
God, you're a nerd.
They're still lacking in punch. I could take this food in a fight if I tried.
I had to stifle a laugh. Sure, buddy.
Hey, I gotta get your opinion on something. So I was arguing with my pal, Jimbus. Yeah, Jimbus.
Really?
He's, studying to be a chef, like me. We argued about what's most important in a kick-ass meal.
Yeah, I was not humoring that. Let me stop you right there. The answer is garlic. He looked stunned.
Huh. Can't believe I forgot the cardinal rule of cooking. Anyways, thanks for giving me your take. I already have tons of real friends like Genghis, but I wouldn't mind if you wanted to, tell folks that we're pals.
Oh my god, this guy. Okay, look. It's obvious you were talking about yourself earlier, and that wasn't what you came to ask me about, so spit it out. What's the actual reason you're here?
Is it that obvious?
Everything you do is obvious.
Fine. It's just, I used to butt around with Mateo when we were like little kids and stuff, but he got all weird, stopped being into burning trash for fun, and started being into burning rates, whatever those are.
Sounds like your buddy grew up, and fell for an MLM or pyramid scheme or something. I don't know, it's some kind of scam. And you didn't. It's a completely normal experience for young adults. Heck, I know at least 2 guys that I went to school with that are like that. Something I said seemed to really get to him.
I gotta go. Bye.
And like that, he was gone. Man, that boy has some issues. He really needs to talk to someone that isn't me. Like a friend. Or a therapist. But still, I can't blame him. His friend grew up to be the boring kind of adult. Not the delusional and fun kind that thinks that streaming and YouTube are viable like me. Anyways, with that, I put a close to the end of my first month running the store. But my story doesn't end here. Because if I wanted to fight against Talkable, I was just getting started.
Ah yes, Catterwald Way, a place where cats roam the streets bringing delight to all, where the people work together to restore their old forgotten shrines, where anyone can take a break from their busy lives to come and rest at my cafe. A small town where the people come first. At least, that's what it would be if Talkable wasn't sticking their dirty noses in it. A couple weeks ago, I learned that some company named Talkable Acquisitions was looking to snatch up some cheap land in Catterwald to force a little urbanization. If they had it their way, this whole town would just be another suburb of the nearby city. The city I left for a quiet life here. And that's why I knew if I wanted to stand up against Talkable and show them that my store wasn't closing, I was gonna have to expand my cafe. I figured it'd be a nice change of pace to focus on some outdoor seating for once. After all, the cafe was surrounded by these beautiful forests that would make for some great natural scenery. To get started, I knew I was going to need some construction materials to set up a nice stone patio. After all, if I just set up a handful of tables and chairs in the dirt, it would only be a matter of time before rain made the whole thing a sloppy mess. It only took a couple of days of advertising to punks, who conveniently pay with building materials, before I had enough stones to set up a complete patio. Or, at least, that's what I thought. You see, the next day, after I'd gotten enough fabrics and gems to buy a door to connect the outdoor and indoor seating, I learned that apparently, doors in this town can only be placed on the northern and southern walls. I asked around for a bit, and apparently, according to the local fisherman Boner, it's an old town superstition it is. Town legend says on a full moon's night, spirits from the underworld take a trip around the world. If you have your door in their path, you give them a way into your house. You know, I'd be inclined to call you crazy if I wasn't being blackmailed into fixing the local shrine by a talking magic cat. You're what? Nothing. So yeah, local superstitions required a full redesign of the entire floor plan of my outdoor seating. Luckily, I had some materials left over from the initial design, which allowed me to snake a path to the back wall of the dining area. It wasn't pretty, and it looked a lot less clean than I'd initially hoped for, but it was done. Now, it was time for me to actually get some chairs out there. But before I could get a chance to run to the store, I heard a cat's call beckoning me to the shrine. As I entered the clearing, The Grimalkin approached me with a sinister smile. Little one, the shrine is looking much closer to its original splendor. You sure? Doesn't really look any different from the first time I came here. Externally, maybe not. But the effort of the town, and the care that it has fostered, that is what matters. Whatever you say, Magic Man. Little one, I believe it is time you knew why the shrine is important, and how I knew your grandmother. Oh shit, for real? Finally gonna tell me why you've been making me do all this? Or is this gonna be like last time you answered a question? Oh, it won't be like last time, little one. Long ago, when humans first settled here, they were dedicated to thriving in a changing world. A world of steam engines and smoking chimneys. They were quite prosperous, but none of them were happy. They had lost all their delight in living. It was their initial enemy, the wild cats, who taught them to find delight in the little moments. That's a real fancy way of saying the humans domesticated the cats. No, they were not domesticated. Think of it as a s'more offering you humans an olive branch. Sure. Anyways, the cats and the humans lived in peace for a time. The humans took care of the cats, domesticated. And the cats brought the humans delight. The humans built this shrine and made many salmon offerings to the cats here to remind themselves of their history. Are you meaning to imply this delight the cats have brought to people is like an actual magical thing? Because otherwise I don't see why they'd be making shrines to their house cats. To call it magic would be too simple. What does that even mean? It means you see life too narrowly. You sound like some shitty wise man in some knockoff karate movie. Perhaps. Still, more cats came to the valley, and soon the settlers named the town Catawal. My protection was no longer needed. Really? 'Cause, Shrine's been looking pretty rough. Yes, little one, it has. At the time, my protection wasn't needed. However, the world is changing again. Humans are forced to spend their time worrying and fretting about all the insecurities placed upon them. Uh-huh. And so, the shrine fell into disrepair, and the cats have had to fend for themselves yet again. I'm sorry to cut you off again, but are you trying to imply that the reason people feel stressed out is because they don't have enough cats? Not necessarily. Though I am saying that with the shrine, they'd be much happier. Look, don't get me wrong. I love cats just as much as the next guy, and having a cat is great. But chalking up all the town's problems to them not taking good enough care of the cats is a bit unrealistic, wouldn't you say? I understand you doubt the power of my shrine, but you should know your grandmother's goal was to bring the town together by restoring the shrine. Really? Because it looked like this hadn't been worked on in years by the time I got here. And her letter was pretty adamant about the café being her passion when she handed it down to me. Well, her old age made her work slow. She couldn't see it through to the end, though I have no doubt that she is happy to see you continuing her work, little one. For a moment, I couldn't help but remember my grandmother's smile. It was a smile that could melt your heart, like a sip of hot cocoa as a kid after making a snowman. It was lost in the memory till the Grimalkin spoke again. So, now I must ask you once again, please bring the delight of the cats to the townspeople, and find their aid in restoring the shrine. Alright, Furball. I'll get your shrine done. I place all my hope in you, little one. Little Felix. For the first time since meeting the strange creature, I felt a pang of pride as the Grimalkin turned away. I knew what I had to do. If I wanted to finish that shrine, I was going to need to make my cafe the best damn cat cafe there's ever been. So I spent the next week expanding and improving my seating arrangements, which still don't match. Trust me, there's a reason, and that reason is stats. And expanding my menu. At this point, it was getting a bit expensive to keep the kitchen stocked. Turns out, when your menu consists of more than salad, coffee, and pretzels, it takes quite a few ingredients to keep all the dishes stocked. At this point, I was having to advertise to witches nearly every other day just to keep enough of that sweet, sweet nectar. Lucky for me though, witches leave more tips the more plants you have in your store. For some reason. So, after buying some trees and a pumpkin for the patio, I started to see the nectar flow. A couple more days went by, and after yet another conversation with Finley about her music, where this time she talked about the pressures of producing something normal rather than personal, and the passion that's lost when making something that doesn't fit your style in an attempt to appease an audience that ultimately isn't your target demographic anyways, Arwell stopped by.
Oh, hey, pal. Pal? Sure, pal.
What's up?
I got a question. Alright, shoot. Let's say you're on a cruise, right? Because you want a ticket for the cruise.
And how exactly did I win this ticket?
I don't know, maybe you entered some kind of contest? Discovered this dormant skill in one-handedly. Maybe it was a silently closing doors contest. Because come to think of it, I've never noticed you entering a room.
Arwell, every time you come to this cafe, I'm already here. And every time I go to Gruff's, you're on your phone. I think you not noticing me is more of a testament to you than it is to me.
Fair point.
Also, who would even hold that kind of contest? Does that sort of thing even exist?
Look, it's not important for the hypothetical. Just bear with me.
I figured I could humor him for once. All right, Arwell, continue.
So, anyways, you leave your cabin, only to find out the ship is gonna crash.
Well, that took a turn.
Yeah, well, you're stranded on an island, all by yourself, and I guess what I'm asking is, would you enjoy it?
I could see where this was going, and I felt a smile spreading across my face. So, are you asking me if I'd be fine being stranded on an island?
Yeah.
All alone?
Yeah.
No food?
Yeah.
No water? No electricity?
Wait,
Oh, the horror of it all! I could never, I would simply die. And then who would take care of my cats?
Look, man, I was more just asking, do you think it's cool to just be by yourself?
Yeah, I know. I was just messing with you. In all honesty, I look at socializing as more of like a battery thing. Being around people drains the battery, and being alone charges it. Too much people time will drain all the battery, but if it sits at full for too long, it can damage it, so it's a bit of a balancing act.
And, makes sense. Maybe my battery's just broken.
Hey, different don't mean broken, man.
Yeah, it's just, there's too many chatty people in Caterwall, so I gotta work hard to scare them all off. Mateo's annoyingly fearless, though.
Y'all were childhood friends. Of course you can't shake him. He knows most of your shticks up front.
Yeah, I know. Anyways, you're not so bad, pal. You don't use up my battery all that much.
Really? Because I spent most of our interactions either making fun of you or rushing you out of my store.
Yeah, but you're real. You are making fun of me. Or you're letting me know when I'm annoying you. Instead of hiding it and being fake, which is what matters.
I was genuinely taken aback for a moment.
Anyways, I'm starting to run out of power here, okay? Yeah, shut up for a while.
Of course, man. I'll get out of your hair. As he left, Arwell handed me a pile of trash. Felt like a slap in the face at the time. Felt like we'd made a genuine connection there, and his response was to give me trash? Little did I know that this trash would lead to the discovery of my favorite part of my cafe. But that's something for a bit later, since a couple days later, when I was serving the usual array of witches, Mateo sauntered in.
Felix, hey, I wanted to talk to you about something, friendo.
Okay, shoot.
It's about that cat shrine you've been renovating. You know, the one with the townspeople's help.
Okay, what about it?
Well, this is a bit tough for me to say, but I want you to stop that.
Okay, I'm hearing you. But have you considered...
No. Okay, listen, it's more like Hockable told me to tell you they told me to tell you that they want me to tell you to stop doing that.
Jesus, just say they wanted you to tell me to stop.
So, the thing is, Hockable has big plans for that particular spot. The design intern happened to draw a business center right there in the future Caterwall concept design.
Let me get this straight. They want to build a business center, and they chose to do it in the location with 4 massive, heavy stone statues in the middle of the woods, miles away from the town itself. Yes. Have you, Hockable's design firm, or Hockable's executives ever, and I mean ever, learned anything about city planning? Hey, friendo, I don't know why I'm on that list. I had no say in where they build the thing, but now my clients are dead set on having a business center. Right there. Well, it sure is a shame you'll have to tell them they can't build there. It's not like they have permission anyways. Well, actually, they already bought the land. They what? They bought the land the shrine's on. How? I thought that was like public property, like a historical site or something. Isn't buying and selling that kind of land illegal? No? The fuck you mean no? Look, buddy, friendo, pal, it's all complicated. Can we just change the subject for a bit? No! Do you know how hard I've worked to build up this cafe and to restore that damn shrine? Y'all ain't gonna take that shit away from me. Get the hell out of my store and tell your little buddies at Hockable I said they can go ahead and fuck off. Mateo's face sunk as I kicked him out of the store. I could feel my blood boiling. Spent nearly 2 months fixing up that shrine. Now that rat was telling me his business partners were just gonna throw it all away. Would breaking the shrines redo all the magic restrictions on my cafe? Would it signal the beginning of the end for Caterwall? I didn't have time for questions. I needed to find that damn cat. As I entered the shrine's clearing though, I saw it was completely empty. Grimalkin? Where are you, you furry demon thing? We need to talk. At first, I didn't hear anything, but then I heard the leaves around me start to rustle. I expected to see the Grimalkin appear from the trees, but instead, I saw as Finley, Carla, and Arwell burst into the clearing. Felix, we've been looking all over for you. Really? Yes, we have. Thank goodness, Arwell. It looks like that friend find potion I had you drink actually worked. Wait, friend find what? Y'all know the only places I ever go are my cafe, your stores, and this shrine. Why would you waste stuff on a potion? Because at that point, I noticed that Arwell was looking a little worse for wear. Carla, was that potion safe to drink? Oh, of course. I make sure every potion I make is 100% human safe. Isn't that right, Arwell? I need to go find a bush to throw up behind. That's just a small side effect. It'll wear off soon. He's fine. You sure as hell don't look fine. Guys, now's not the time. Felix, it's Huckaball, that big company buying up town. I'm familiar. They're gathering a small army of bulldozers and interior designers at their staging ground. Oh, shit. I fear they're going to destroy the shrine, dear. Like, right now? Well, no. They need more time to prepare. But it could happen any day now. Well, that's just great. I know, right? Couldn't they find a better spot to build their whack-ass business center? I know! I told Mateo this was a horrible space to set up shop. But he said his partners just wouldn't listen. Well, what do we do now, Felix? We can't just let the town's hard work on the shrine go to waste. For a while, I stood there in stunned silence. What could we do? We were 4 nobodies, and they had a whole army of rich businessmen that could just buy their way out of any trouble we caused. There's just another group of bugs on their windshield, not even worth the effort to wipe off. I guess all we can do is finish restoring it. Maybe we can get some sort of protection once it's done, like get it marked as a historical site or something? I could tell the defeat in my voice was obvious. Still, Carla put on a brave face. I hope that seeing the fully finished shrine will make them see reason then. Yeah. Even if they do destroy it, we'll know what we've accomplished, right? Yeah, and everyone help fix the place up. Lullaby Corp could take that away. It was nice to see their reinvigorated spirits, but I knew the hard part fell to me. I was gonna have to complete the shrine. But first, that night when I got home, I found what Arwell's trash had lured in. Mingus! That's right, we got Mingus, baby! He was so great and amazing and adorable and perfect that I really just needed to break the flow of this video to show him to you. He's great. I've always wanted a pet raccoon, and he's Mingus! Anyways, where was I? Oh, yeah, finishing the shrine. I knew that if I wanted to finish fixing the shrine, I was gonna have to work my butt off. I spent day after day bringing in as many customers as I could, running full house operations from sunup to sundown. With each passing day, I completed more and more projects, but it wasn't fast enough. I knew if I wanted to raise enough delight to save the shrine, I was going to have to spread my cat's loves across the town. I started to rehome and give away a few of my furry friends, so that my cats weren't just a cafe luxury. Not all of my cats left, but I felt tears form in my eyes as I said goodbye to Skrunkle. He was the first one, the cat that had been with me from the very beginning, and now he was gone, off to live a comfortable life amongst his new family. But it all proved to be worth it. With the burst of delight from the adoptions, I was able to finish restoring the shrine. To my surprise, for once, the shrine actually looked as if it had been cleared. Where there was once moss and leaves, smooth stone shone in the sun. That evening, after closing up shop, I decided it was time to head out and admire my handiwork. It was hard work, took a ton of off-screen help, but damn it, I was proud of my shrine. As I approached, though, I noticed some of my friends were standing there.
Brilliant! I can't believe we pulled it off. The shrine looks about as old as me.
Yes, I feel a strong sense of gratitude from the statues. Or, I would if I could talk to statues, which I cannot.
I'm still worried about Huckable, though. Wonder when they'll get here.
Let's not think about that.
That's gonna be a little hard because, you guys, they got here. Rats.
Arwell, who was apparently keeping watch despite being part of the previous conversation, dashed into the clearing.
Squawkable's right outside. I ain't gonna let him step foot in here. Ready to rumble, boner? I ain't one for rumbling, but I can yell real loud for you.
Hey, what about me? I guarantee I can throw a better punch than you can, Arwell.
Well, I figured you were, implied.
What about Finley? Not gonna ask her?
Well, she's a grown woman. She can make that decision herself.
And Boner can't make that decision without your permission? Arwell was flustered, but before he could answer, a megaphone voice thundered through the woods, cutting him off. This is Huckable Acquisitions Caterwall Development Director. We order you to evacuate our premises. We're ready to bulldoze. The man started to mutter something into his headset. What's that? Oh yes, slowly. Huckable carrying you into the nest of the future.
Looks like this might be the end of the road. Do we go down guns blazing?
Yeah, you could charge that thing if you want. Throw a single punch and I'm fairly sure they can fight back legally. I think. Let's just not leave. It's not like they can bulldoze the site if we're on it. They definitely could, but I doubted this company wanted to deal with that backlash. Oh, that's a wonderful idea, dear. If only we had something to eat. It'd be like a little picnic.
I, made sandwiches. Happened by accident.
Real convenient accident you got there, Arwell. As we started to sit down, though, we heard the roaring of engines as they came to life. All right, we're moving our bulldozers, whether you have vacated the lot or not. As the rumbling machines approached, the five of us held firm. We knew we couldn't stop the gigantic devices, but maybe, just maybe, our last stand would make them see the errors of their ways. At least, that's what we were hoping would happen. In actuality, what stopped him was none other than Mateo. Not so fast, cretin. It's quite the heroic entrance. Now, of course, he immediately ruined said entrance by talking to Siri, but that's beside the point. Excuse me, but that's my megaphone. And Mr. Mateo, doesn't your company support this plan? Silence, cretin! You know, I have feelings too. And I'm sorry. But anyways, I did in fact want progress for Caterwall, whatever that means. But Felix and Felix's felines cats made me realize that shouldn't be at the cost of what makes Caterwall, well, Caterwall. Took you long enough. And I'm not the only one. Gather round, y'all. In that instant, a mob of my customers poured into the clearing, yelling out in protest. You know, my friend Felix pointed out that your buying up of this land seemed a little legally dubious, so I took the liberty of looking into your little hawkish acquisition of this plot of land. It seemed perfectly legal until Siri set a 3-second timer for dramatic effect.
I can't with this guy.
I can't stand him either, but he's saving our asses, so keep your voice down. Until I got help from Gavin, our town's librarian. Isn't that Boner's husband? Hi, Boner. Proud of you, sweetheart. Yep, definitely his husband. I imagine he'd be taller. Yeah, we, dug through some of the old public records, and it turns out the land was owned by a Miss Grimm, and her will states that upon her death, the shrine should be bestowed upon the upstanding members of this town. Wait, so does that mean that it is public land? And that means they can't buy it. Exactly, meaning no dozering today. Oh man, but I like the dozering. And that, my friends, is the story of me and my cat cafe. As the dozers drove away, the people of Catawal rejoiced, meeting at the café for a nice celebration. In the years that followed, I continued to run my store and to care for the shrine, and though Huckable continued to buy up stores here and there, they never quite got the footing they hoped for in this town. I guess all I have left to say is thank you. Thank you for coming with me on this journey. I truly couldn't have done it without you. Until our next adventure, good night, farewell, and remember to like, comment, and subscribe. And to check me out over on twitch.tv and like Felix_fighter, link in the description. It's a lot of fun.